Hi everybody, and welcome back to the final installment of our series on emergency situations. In 2017, over 70,000 Americans died of an overdose. This surpasses peak car, gun, and HIV deaths. Drug overdose has become an epidemic in America. Thankfully, there is a drug that can reverse the effects of an opioid overdose. Today, with Narcan expert Maura Marshall, we'll be demonstrating how to revive someone who has overdosed on opioids.
Thanks so much for having me on the show, Liam.
Of course. So to begin, how does one even tell if somebody's overdosing or not?
That's a really good question. So, the three most common signs of overdose are pinpoint pupils, unconsciousness, and respiratory depression. This is where the first step in the emergency response procedure comes into play. If you have a person who is unresponsive, you're going to want to try to wake them up.
So things like shaking or yelling at the person?
Exactly. Additionally, you can also perform a sternal rub on their chest to try to wake them up.
Got it.
Now, if the person is still unresponsive, the next step is to call 911. Something that's really important when calling 911 is to tell them that you have a person that's unresponsive rather than someone who's overdosing.
And why is that? Would these people be afraid of being arrested?
I mean, yeah, it could be, but because of Good Samaritan law, you're actually protected and you don't have to worry about getting in trouble with the law. Rather, it's more because the paramedics are so overwhelmed and frustrated with the amount of overdose calls they get that they're more likely to respond quicker if you tell them that you have someone that's unresponsive rather than someone who's overdosing.
Wow, that really shows you how widespread the issue is.
That's right. So once 911 has been called, it's time to administer Narcan. Narcan, also known as naloxone, is a drug that works on the opioid receptors in someone's brain, and it basically reverses the effects of opioids.
Wow, that's
overdose.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's really cool. So basically it comes in two forms. You can get it in an injection and also in a nasal spray. The nasal spray is the most common one, so that's what we're going to be using to demonstrate with today. Basically, you put your thumb on the back of the plunger and you put your two fingers on the top and you insert it into the person's nose, pressing down all the way, administering the full dose. Then you can wait about 2 to 3 minutes. If the person is still unresponsive, you can go ahead and insert it into the other nostril, pushing down the plunger all the way, administering the full dose. It's really that simple.
Wow. Who knew it would be so easy?
Right, however, that's not all. If after another 2 to 3 minutes the person is still unresponsive, it's now time to perform some rescue breaths, if you're trained to do so.
Right. From last week I learned that for CPR from last week's episode on CPR I learned that you have to tilt the person's head back, pinch their nose, and open their mouth, and then give 2 breaths into their mouth, followed by 1 breath every 5 seconds.
Exactly. The last step is to simply just stay with that person until help has arrived. Oftentimes when people overdose, they can wake up feeling confused or angry, so it's really good to just have someone there to help them process their feelings and also just explain what happened to them.
Definitely. Wow, who knew it would be so simple to revive somebody from an overdose?
It really is that easy. Additionally, it's really important to be trained in Narcan administration because due to the widespread epidemic of this issue, you just never know when you can come across a stranger who's entering overdose. Also, common party drugs like Xanax and cocaine can be unknowingly laced with opioids, leading to overdose unintentionally, so it's just good to have this knowledge.
This has all been very helpful. Thank you so much for coming in for our final episode on emergency situations.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you'd like to get Narcan, stop by your local pharmacy or community training for your prevention kit and your training certification.